My journey since I started eating this way. On episode 3, I spoke in detail about my relationship with food and that in fact I am a food addict. So for now, I understand that I am in recovery. Um, so I try to abide by a certain set of rules that are self-imposed, and I will talk to you more about those later in today's episode. I often get asked the question, what is it that you eat in a day that has caused you to lose over 45 pounds in less than 10 weeks? First, I better define SOS free. The acronym SOS stands for sugar, oil, and salt. So I abstain from eating sugar, oil, and salt. What that has done for me, it has allowed me to stay away from the pleasure trap. There is a book called The Pleasure Trap, written and co-authored by Dr. Doug Lisle and Alan Goldhammer from the True North Health Center. And this book explains in detail how salt and our taste buds are linked into the dopamine that gets fed to us and how we become addicted to salt, sugar, oil, and things that just keep us coming back for more. So I've understood the message that they've shared, but more importantly than understanding that is really understanding the science and the studies that have been done to support this. This has been done in laboratory animals and tests where you have one mouse that has salt, SOS, sugar, oil, and salt, and another mouse that doesn't have that, and how the mouse that would normally never be overweight or much less obese would become obese, sedentary, and overweight based on the fact that he constantly go back to the foods that are laden with salt, oil, and sugars. And this is what is on the shelves for most of us to buy from when we want to eat conveniently and want to eat the American way of eating, which is literally out of a box or a package. Processed foods are really making us addicted to consuming and over-consuming the amount of calories that we need to survive. So if you'd like to know more about what I did to lose over 40-something pounds in about 9 or 10 weeks, I encourage you to watch episode 3 of the Jerry Pujols Project 2.0. But for now, let's go into episode 7 and what I eat in a day. Thanks. At this point, I want to ask you to subscribe to our channel, hit us with a like, hit that little bell so we can notify you when our next episode comes out, and you can stay up to date and current with what it is that I'm talking about. At the end, I will share all the people that I'm learning from with you, so I'll tie in some links. At the end, I will share with you where I'm sourcing all my information from and who I'm listening to. Also, wait till the very end for my special message of the day as well. Here we go. What I eat in a day. Here we go. I'm just going to go right into it. So for breakfast, on most days, I fast. And by fasting, I mean I stop eating about 7 o'clock at night, and I wake up in the morning and not feeling hungry most of the time. So one of the things that I heard people like Furman, Dr. Goldhammer, is say to listen to yourself, and if you're not hungry, you don't have to eat. Hunger is a sign that your body is ready to accept food. And when you wake up not hungry, what I garner from their information is that your body's not ready to accept food. You haven't finished the process of fasting, so why stuff yourself with food? So a lot of times I don't feel hungry till 10, 11, or noon, which allows me a nice long fast from 7 p.m. to sometimes noon that gives my system a real long time to heal and to recover itself. I'm sure most of you have heard of the term intermittent fasting by now. That's exactly what this is. There are many case studies to confirm the benefits of fasting. It has been proven to be a benefit to give our digestive system time of rest and recovery. Most of us are continuously, and by this I don't mean you, I mean me. What I normally do is continuously stuff my face with food and not allow my digestive system a moment's time to recover and start to improve everything within my body. So what happens on some days is when I work out in the morning, I prefer to work out on an empty stomach. It is also recommended that you work out on an empty stomach. But if I wait later on in the day to work out, then I usually end up eating a banana or something that will probably give me a little bit of a spike in sugar and give me a little bit of energy to get me through the workout. So if I don't go to the gym, let's say by 8 o'clock in the morning, I need to eat a banana. If I go to the gym in the morning, by the time I'm done with my workout, within an hour or two, I'm usually hungry. So if I go to the gym at 8 a.m., get an hour workout, get ready, get back to my house probably by 8:30, I will not eat anything till 10:30 or 11:30. But by that point, I'm really hungry because I've burned a lot of calories. So if you wake up hungry, or if I wake up hungry, then I eat. I normally will eat a smoothie. A smoothie is really my go-to. And let me give you an idea of what a smoothie looks like for me. A smoothie for me starts with a green base. And the reason I prefer smoothies over juicing is because obviously you keep all the fiber, and I want to get all that fiber in my body. It allows for very little waste. And then you're not consuming all this straight sugar from the fruits that you're putting in the system. You're taking it in with fiber. I want to also give you a little bit of an example of what I put into my smoothie because I wrote it down. So I start my smoothie with a lot of times either water or some coconut water. Then I go into about a cup of frozen blueberries. I put in an entire head of romaine lettuce in a high-powered blender. I put an entire mid-sized bok choy. I put in a whole banana for sweetness, and I put in one apple for fiber and sweetness. I go in with 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, 1 tablespoon of flax seeds. And I blend that on that high-power blender for about a minute. That becomes really thick and smooth. If I have any leftover broccoli, cauliflower, cooked or uncooked, I will add it to that smoothie. So I put a lot of nutrients with green vegetables inside my smoothie. If I have a leftover salad, because I make humongous salads, and the salad has beans and green onions and anything that might be a little bit on the salty side, like celery and all that, I still throw that into a smoothie the next day. I avoid any food waste when it comes to eating this way, because as long as the nutrients are there, and if you put a little sweetness in it, you'll find that you start growing to love the taste of that smoothie. You'll actually crave it because the load that you get in the way of micronutrients is unlike anything you've probably ever done before. Because for most of us, the American diet encourages that we eat protein in the way of meats. And what we tend to do is we tend to eat the larger portion of our plate is a big piece of meat, whether it's fish, chicken, beef, pork, what have you. We end up eating a large piece of that because we've been taught and trained that that's the right thing to do and that's the right way to eat. And then we garnish with greens, so we'll eat a little side salad or we'll eat something like that. The way that I'm eating now, the salad is what I used to eat as the steak. The salad is most of the time over 1 pound of greens and vegetables that are green. So again, I go into lettuce, celery, carrots, other bell peppers, red, yellow, orange. I throw the rainbow of veggies into my salad, and then I go in with the beans, the berries, the seeds, the nuts. But right now, I also find that I've hit a plateau in my weight loss. So I've hit the first plateau after, I'll be 10 weeks this Sunday. I'm hitting my first plateau. So I'm holding steady. I started at 270 pounds. Maybe it was 275, but I hadn't weighed myself because I didn't want to know. So I lost a little bit of weight. Then I weighed myself. I was at 270. I was at 222 the other day, 223, pardon me. And today I was at 225. So I'm up 2 pounds. It could be water, it could be bowel movement, it could be who knows what's going on with me that I'm holding on to some weight. I'm going to venture to guess that it has a lot to do with the amount of seeds and nuts I'm consuming, because that's a little bit of a slippery slope for me. And I tend to start going in with more oil and avocados and things like that that are really calorie dense foods rather than nutrient dense. So today, what I did is I went more nutrient dense. I just went with literally a tablespoon of flaxseed, ground flaxseed in my salad. And tonight I might have like a quarter or a half of avocado with another salad, and I'm probably gonna end up having some broccoli soup that I made, some creamy broccoli soup. And that'll be what I eat. And then I'm gonna back off the fruit a little bit because I like to make fruit sherbets that are all natural and real fruit. I go with frozen organic fruit. But what I see that happens with me is a lot of things are a slippery slope. You know, I start to really appreciate the taste of the sugars, even if they're natural sugars from fruit that are in the fruit that I'm eating. I find that then I can start eating more and more and more, and I can make a bigger and bigger bowl, which becomes much more calorie dense than what I need in a day. So again, I am a self-diagnosed food addict. I know I am, and being that I know that that is my drug of choice, I have to abstain from something. And by this, and again, I'll share with you at the end, some of my parameters for trying to recognize that and trying to abstain. Okay. So I want to go over a couple of my meals during the day. Lunch for me goes one of two ways. Is either usually a salad or a smoothie. I'd like to follow Dr. Joel Fuhrman's acronym G-BOMBS. So Dr. Joel Fuhrman says, eat your G-BOMBS every single day. And to me, that works really, really well. G-BOMBS stand for greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Here's an example of some of the things that I will put into a salad. Sometimes I put up to 15 to 20 different vegetables in a salad that I'm eating in one sitting. But here's a simple example of one of my salads. I start with probably half a pound to a pound of spring mix, which is a huge amount of lettuce. But if I don't do that much spring mix, then I'll like to add some red butter lettuce. I love micro kale. I love kale sprouts. They're super expensive, about $5 for a little tiny pack. But I love what they do in the way of texture for the salad. I go in with a quarter cup of walnuts when I'm not in weight loss. I go in with a full cup of some type of bean. Red beans are my favorite. White beans are my second favorite. Red bell peppers, avocado, mushrooms, either raw or then I go with shiitake or any other kind of mushroom that I want to serve hot with the salad, because I also enjoy different temperatures and different textures to foods when I'm eating them. So I do enjoy having hot with a cold salad. So I don't mind eating hot broccoli over a cold salad. So those are some of the things that I like if you want to. I will normally throw in, when I'm not in weight loss, I'll throw some hemp seed, some flaxseed. And then I enjoy Bragg's no oil dressing. They have a real good one at Home Depot. And then sometimes I'll throw in some balsamic vinegar. And sometimes I will even add garlic, some SOS-free spices that really liven up the salad. So that is a salad. That's a very basic salad for me. I get my very clean hands in a bowl, just really blend everything together so everything is covered in that Bragg's dressing. One thing that I've been doing a lot lately is making my own dressings. I have an amazing recipe for ranch dressing. And a lot of these things I learned from other authors or people who have written on the topic, but I make a lot of the recipes my own and really design them to my flavor. So a lot of it is things that I'm plagiarizing because I'm learning from somebody else, but then I'm spinning them and making them to my desired taste. I definitely, when I sit down with a bowl of salad, this bowl is usually something that's way bigger than my head, so it's a lot of salad. And then for dinner is either a large salad or a vegetable saute or a stir fry in water with herbs and spices and some type of texture in there, maybe some hemp seeds or something that I like. The other day I made a spaghetti out of zucchini. You've seen how they have those pre-done, so you can buy frozen or fresh pre-done zucchini made into spaghetti, and then I'll top that with a tomato-based sauce with a mushroom ragu over it, and I'm going to put some photos to that on this video because it's fantastic. I know some people will eat brown rice. Some people will eat complex carbohydrates. Some people eat. While I'm on weight loss, I don't even mess with any of that because those are slippery slopes for me. I know I can consume a lot of rice. I grew up on rice. It's something of a comfort food for me. I stay away from rice. I stay away from sweet potatoes, those things I grew up with. And they are slippery slopes for me. So while I'm in weight loss, I will abstain from that. Snacks. So snacks for me are basically fruits. That's the only snack. I do not use nuts as a snack. I can eat cashews as if they were popcorn. So I can eat a huge bag of cashews. I can probably sit down and eat 2,000 to 3,000 calories of just cashews if somebody doesn't intervene. So for me, it's literally fruits. I like to use apples as a good source of a snack for me because it's not something that, once I eat one apple, I don't necessarily want to eat a second apple. But if you give me one of those amazing, juicy Tangelos, I can eat 3 or 4 of those. So I'm starting to recognize that as I'm talking to you, I'm starting to recognize that as I just did that about 3 days ago. And then the scale went the wrong way. So it could have been a combination of more nuts, avocados, and Tangelos that I was just kind of going for that kind of put that there for me. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to catch myself and I'm going to go to the apples because again, it's hard for me to overeat on apples. It's not something that I just indulge on in that way. I do it for a need, not a dopamine hit that just makes me feel, oh my God, this is great. Berries are another thing that I have a hard time overeating. So raspberries, blueberries, blackberries. I can literally kind of serve a cup of berries and I'm satiated. I have something sweet to eat and berries are amazing for you. For desserts, berry smoothies that are something that I do especially towards the end of the day. The other day I did it way too late, like at 8 o'clock at night. I really try to keep within my parameters, 7 p.m. as I'm done eating, by 7 p.m. stop. I think a key thing for me, and I know it is for a lot of people, is diversity. It's just eat as many different fruits and as many different vegetables as possible so you can keep yourself from getting bored. I think that's super important. And the other thing that I'm gonna just pause on is, if you're living in a situation where not everybody is wanting to do what you're doing, this is something that really works better when you own it and when it's your journey. If you try to force somebody else into it, I think you're going to be met with resistance. I think if you own it, all the way from shopping to bringing it home, to preparing it, to eating it, and then sharing with others, I think that's a much easier way to convince people that this might actually help them. It's just by making it available to them. And a lot of people, including my wife, has really gotten on board with, I know I'm going to eat one big salad a day. She knows that. So she enjoys that. And what was really cool for me is that yesterday I didn't have to make a salad because she made one. And for me, what was interesting is maybe just because she made it, it tasted better to me because guess what? I didn't have to do any preparing yesterday. So that was really a treat. And it's nice to feel that somebody is coming on board without you having to just say, help me, or me just to become confrontational when I'm like, please help me because I'm a food addict. Well, if I'm a food addict, she's not. And being that she's not, I have to own it. And for me to own it really says I have to prepare it, I have to cook it, I have to live it. It's my journey, it's not her journey, although she's quite supportive and probably more supportive than most. So I'm lucky that way. So now I want to share with you the rules that I told you I was going to talk about. So here are my self-imposed rules that I abide to abstain from overeating, overindulging in regard to my relationship with food. So the first thing is I eat and live SOS free. So that's the first thing. SOS free, no salt, no oil, no sugar. So try to, if you want to consider this, there are two kinds of people out there. I think they're the kind of people that just tip their toe in the water and maybe they'll remove one. They'll remove sugar. I think that's one that I see a lot of people and hear a lot of people just, hey, I'm just going to cut off sugar. I know I can do that for a while. I hear oils. People can do that with oil too. I think salt is the toughest for a lot of people. If you wouldn't mind sharing in the comment box which one the toughest is for you, I'd like to run a little bit of a poll on that. What do you think would be the toughest? I don't think you have to do it to know. I think you'll probably know if it's sugar, oil, or salt. I eat whole food plant-based. So what does that mean? So that doesn't mean that I eat brown rice pasta. That doesn't mean that I eat garbanzo flour. That doesn't mean, because those things, those type of things are highly processed, and your system will process that differently because they'll be higher glycemic. They're going to turn into sugar much more. A lot of people will eat, corn tortillas, things like that, because they're vegan and they're vegetables. But then you have to consider a lot of those sometimes are made with lard and things like that are latent in fats. So be mindful of what you're consuming. But again, for me, because of the addiction to food, those are slippery slopes and will lead me or could lead me to overconsumption. For people that are wanting to eat plant-based, that are not addicted to food, I don't know that there's anything wrong with eating, brown rice pasta or anything, garbanzo flour or any other kind of flour that you can make something out of. But I think for somebody like me, if you're having that type of sensation when you eat something like a corn tortilla or even a wheat tortilla or something like that, those kind of things lead me down bad idea. I eat one huge salad a day. That's 7 days a week. I eat my G-bombs every day: green beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds every single day. I load up on fruits and vegetables twice per week from the store. I like my nutrients fresh. I don't want to eat 1 week old lettuce. It's just not going to happen. The store is way too close to my house for me not to go to the store 2, maybe 3 times a week. Susan and I easily go through about 5 to 6 1-pound spring mix boxes. Those are the big spring mix boxes all packed with them. I think the net weight is 1 pound. I bet you we go through one of those a day, because then we're throwing about another pound or 2 pounds of additional veggies into that salad. So I want to give you an idea of what are the foods that I abstain from at this point. If I eat nuts, they'll never be consumed without measuring them. I will measure nuts. I know how much I'm having in the way of nuts per day, and I'm, as we speak, cutting that back. Like I said it before, nuts are as easy for me to eat as popcorn is for most people. No nut butters. So not interested in any of the nut butters, because I can literally eat let's not even go into peanut butter. Peanut butter, I can devour a whole jar of peanut butter. I don't care the size of the jar. I can just eat it till it's gone. But almond butter or butters that are not as sweet as peanut butter, I cannot eat them at the same pace, but I know I can overindulge and overconsume. I do not eat rice, any type of rice, grains, potatoes while I'm on weight loss, and I still have a lot that I want to accomplish in the way of body composition. I'm going this weekend to San Francisco to get my body fat measured in one of those water tanks because apparently they're the most accurate. So I want to stop focusing so much on weight, and I want to start focusing on how much fat I'm carrying, especially midsection, because that's the fat that's really unhealthy for your organs. So I really want to work on that. And lastly, I want to share with you the people that I am getting a lot of education from. And I'd love for you to look them up, and I encourage you to listen to them on podcasts, read their books, get their material. All of these individuals are literally backed by science. They've done the research. So I'll start with Dr. Greger, which is amazing research doctor. And if you just put in on Google plant-based or vegan Dr. Greger, you'll get a lot more than you ever bargained for. But he answers just about any question you may have, all backed by years of research. He has a full research team. If anything hits his desk, he gets his team on it. And that's literally all he does is research and supports anything that comes out of his mouth. So I'm really impressed by him. I believe Dr. Joel Fuhrman is similar in that way. He doesn't say anything if it's not backed or supported by a case study or science. Chef AJ, I want to say I thank you because I literally almost watch you every day. She puts out really this woman works 7 days a week. She puts out material on her YouTube channel every day. It's called Chef AJ Live. I encourage you to watch her. She's done a great job in keeping me motivated. She suffered with food addiction and has been eating this way for I think I heard today, over 40 years, which is impressive. And she lives super healthy and looks super lean, and it's an amazing example of talk about practicing what you preach. So Chef AJ, big shout out. I like Sherry at the Watery Mouth. She's recently gone through some personal things, and she's talked about her bout with cancer, but it seems like, at least from what I'm gathering from her, she's on the upside of that, and she just had a big move to Texas. But I've learned a lot from watching her as well. And these are people that just put that information out there for free for us to watch and learn from. Huge fan of Dr. Alan Goldhammer, the founder of True North Health Center in Santa Rosa, California. And Dr. Lyle, the co-author along with Dr. Goldhammer of The Pleasure Trap. Really impressed with what those guys do, and grateful that I've run into them. I've had conversations with some of them, so that's been wonderful. I know Dr. Goldhammer is going to be on the show in the next few weeks, so I'm looking forward to that and sharing that with you. At this point, again, I'll ask you one more time, subscribe and like the kids say. I love for you to be a part of what I'm doing, and hopefully you get one little thing out of it and motivates you to do something in regards to your health. I want to share today's special message with you. So I want you to think about this. Smart doctors say that you cannot be healthy and overweight at the same time. It just can't be done. So being overweight is a form of being sick. Over 70% of us are overweight. Over 40% of us are obese, and somewhere around 30% of us are morbidly obese. If the grocery store was a drugstore, and if food is medicine, what parts of the grocery store should we shop from to save our lives? Think about that and take care of yourself.